Have you ever caught yourself wondering why the internet today feels way less like a vibrant public square and, well, kind of more like an endless toll booth? Let's jump right into this explainer, because we're going to uncover the hidden economic engines that are actually driving our digital world. We'll be contrasting two very different approaches to how our digital architecture is built: the classic short-term extraction model versus the push to build enduring, lasting public goods.
Right off the bat, this fundamental question gets straight to the heart of our digital economy. The sources we're looking at challenge us to take a really hard look at whether we are actually innovating anymore, or if we're just hyper-financializing every single aspect of our daily lives. Are we creating technologies that actually empower us, or are we just designing highly efficient systems to extract value from us?
To unpack all of this, we're going to follow a pretty clear roadmap. First up, the disruption illusion. Second, inventing artificial scarcity. Third, Web3's vending machine economics. Fourth, the public goods deficit. And finally, we'll look at the shift from exit to endurance.
Okay, let's dive into Section 1, the disruption illusion, when noble goals become extractive. So, the research outlines what's known as the innovation cycle. And you know the story, it almost always starts with these really noble ambitions to take down central power brokers. But as the analysis points out, capital inevitably enters the chat. The study points to Google as the classic example here. They started with this pure mission to simply organize the world's information, but eventually pivoted to a massive ad auction model just to satisfy capital. The research argues that this classic disruption playbook gave rise to what critics call the Liquidator VC model. It's a system where these plucky disruptors inevitably morph into massive data-hoarding empires, monetizing you and me rather than actually empowering us. Moving on to Section 2, inventing artificial scarcity, hoarding digital abundance. Now, to maintain that control we just talked about, the sources explain how capital forces essentially have to construct artificial scarcity, and the methods they use are highly sophisticated. Research actually warns of agentic AI systems being programmed to act as perpetual patent trolls. Can you imagine that? Similarly, the book For Futures describes how the wealthy elite increasingly seek to possess digital abundance by literally owning the robots and the underlying code, essentially locking the future behind a giant paywall. The crucial point here is that a post-scarcity world isn't impossible. It's honestly just an organizational option. This is a concept often called Trekonomics, think Star Trek, where technology eliminates material scarcity and humans work for reputation and respect rather than just a paycheck. But critics argue that the Liquidator VC mindset actively works against this. They literally require artificial scarcity to exist, prioritizing the strict possession of digital goods so they can just keep acting as toll collectors on our digital highways.
All right, Section 3, Web3's vending machine economics, the casinoification of the internet. Critics argue that instead of building enduring public infrastructure, much of the decentralized space has effectively turned global finance into a giant extractive vending machine. You put a coin in, transactional value pops out. That's it. Even systems like Chainlink are being analyzed for how they literally program real-world vending machines to accept cryptocurrency. But zooming out for a second, the sources argue that the entire ecosystem operates on this mechanical, coin-operated logic rather than fostering any deep communal value.
Just listen to this quote from Industry Analysis by ChainDD. It perfectly captures what critics call the casinoification of Web3. The fundamental misstep highlighted here is taking things like social media or core gaming mechanics and just forcing a financial layer onto them. When simply playing a game is directly equated to making a profit or social interactions are aggressively monetized per click, the research suggests it absolutely distorts the very essence of human interaction. It turns joyful or neutral digital spaces into highly stressful, financialized casinos. And at a technical level, smart contracts actually form the architecture of this extraction. They aren't defined as trust-building social agreements. No, they're simply long-lived blockchain processes programmed to handle money and titled assets. They execute the rigid rules of the vending machine economy. According to the analysis, they aren't building real, lasting public space at all. They are literally just automating the casino. Let's look at Section 4 now, the public goods deficit, the casualties of the Liquidator VC model. So we really have to ask, what is the true cost of this hyper-financialized approach? Well, the casualties are our public goods. Core open internet infrastructures routinely fall into what industry experts ominously call the valley of death. Because public goods, like decentralized web access or vital non-commercial infrastructure, because they don't offer that quick exit or the immediate massive returns demanded by the Liquidator VC model, they literally starve to death in this valley. the builders burn out, and the public space of the internet slowly but surely erodes. We are currently witnessing a real-time paradigm shift. On one side, you've got the liquidator mindset, totally obsessed with short-term exits, creating artificial scarcity, and the casinification of our digital lives. Contrasting sharply with this is the emerging endurance mindset. This model focuses on long-term transformation, actively funding those starving public goods, and actually giving users genuine agency over their digital footprints.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5. From Exit to Endurance, a new paradigm for digital economics.
Fortunately, there is a resolution taking shape. Venture capitalist Hemant Taneja highlights this vital transition beautifully. He notes that if you want to actually transform massive, critical industries, we're talking healthcare or finance, you just cannot operate on a basic 3 to 5 year timeline. You have to abandon the short-term exit strategy and adopt a mindset of endurance. You have to build companies that are fully aligned on purpose and profit, fitting into the future systems that society actually needs.
And what exactly is the ultimate goal of this endurance mindset? Investment firms like Variant VC define it simply as agency. It's about building systems that serve users and increase your actual freedom to customize and control your own digital life. The sources draw a really sharp line here. Intelligent automation is great, sure, but automation alone does not mean agency. The real question the research poses is, who does your tech ultimately serve? You or the toll collector? Building this architecture of endurance requires synthesizing massive social goals with incredibly deep technical foundations. This ranges from using decentralized Web3 initiatives in the global south to genuinely alleviate poverty, all the way down to the literal processor level. For instance, researchers point to utilizing complex math, specifically things like high-radix online arithmetic, which essentially ensures the microprocessors we rely on provide transparent and highly credible computing. If we want systems that serve the public good, it's about hard-coding justice and reliability right into the deepest layers of the math itself. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, absolutely crucial thought to chew on. The technology for absolute digital abundance, it's already here. AI and decentralized networks absolutely possess the capability to map out a post-scarcity future for us. But the choice of how we govern it, whether we build a thriving public commons for everyone or let a liquidator mindset patent it all behind an infinite paywall, that is entirely up to us. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.